We'll start in high school, but I have a lot of Bobby Cremins stuff I want to ask you too.
Yeah. Far as basketball, the Kenny Anderson so-called great, it started, it always started with my high school. Archbishop Molloy High School, and my coach, Jack Curran, greatest coach in America, basketball coach, but he also coached baseball. He got
No
more
way.
wins in baseball than basketball. So he's a
I did
great,
not know that.
yeah, he's a great baseball coach and basketball coach. And my school, Archbishop Molloy High School, is just an awesome school. Not just so much basketball, but teaching wise, education wise, one of the best schools in the country now. As we speak, is I learned a lot. I learned a lot. Growing up in the ghetto and then going over to school there, it was like two different worlds. You
Right.
know what I mean? But it taught me how to relate. So my school taught me how to relate to people. And then I was a mega star in high school, so I got so much attention. I had to learn how to communicate uh, through media. With articles, television. I was getting so much attention. So I was getting more attention than the Knicks, the Nets, the Islanders, the Yankees, the Mets, all the New York teams. I was the man
And you were what,
in high
17 years
school,
old?
in
You
Archbishop Molloy High School. So it was just I had to grow up quick, and I did through the teachings and the help of my mentor Vincent Smith and Jack Curran. Those two was like so big in my life.
so because of that, Kenny, do you feel like you missed your teenage years a little bit, or were you still able to be a
Yeah,
kid?
yes, that's a good question because I did because I was so
I asked a
focused.
good question.
Hell
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good question.
yeah.
I was so focused on making it, get my mother out of the ghetto, and so I was just zoned in academics, basketball for 4 years straight. I went 7:30 in the morning till like 9 at night. I stayed at my school, so I was just focused, focused, focused. Then I got to Georgia Tech. It was kind of like the same, but I loosened up everything after my freshman year. I started being a little more loosey goosey after my
The,
freshman year.
when you were such a star and such a national name, even
Yeah,
as a high schooler, what back in those days, like I think it's different now because
yeah.
of NIL, but back in those days, what was the recruiting process like? Like for somebody like you, and how did Kenny Anderson end up with Bobby Cremins at Georgia Tech?
So, so my coach was so big with me. I didn't get none of my letters until my junior year. So I played freshman. I played a freshman year. I played varsity. I was the first to ever do it. You know what I mean? So he kept all my letters in the box, the big box. So the junior year, I got this big box. I was like, whoa! With every college in the country, I could have went to any school in the country. But I like how Coach Cremins recruited me. It was either Syracuse or Georgia Tech. But I just like how important he made me feel. Going to Georgia Tech. Syracuse was big with Jim Boeheim, but I think he used his, Pearl Washington was New York point guard great. I wanted to go after Pearl, and he didn't recruit me. He recruited me, but didn't recruit me hard. And Duke, Coach K, Bob Hurley thought I was going to sign with North Carolina. Bob Hurley wanted to go to North Carolina. That's his first, but he thought I was going to go because of Vincent Smith, Kenny Smith, older brother, my mentor. So he chose Duke right away. He signed with Duke. And then, so I was going to do my visit a week before. Coach K had called and said, you don't have to go. We signed Bob Hurley. It was out of respect, and he called me and he let me know that. So I was like, okay, thank you. So I didn't take my visit to Duke. But Coach Cremins was like every day, man. Every day recruiting. He was always in my face. My tournaments I played, he was always there. And I really didn't know Georgia Tech at the time.
Right.
But I watched Georgetown, Georgia Tech versus Georgetown. They had Mark Price, Bruce Dye-Ripple, John Sally.
Right.
I watched him one. I said, "Wow!" I told my Vincent Smith, Kenny. I was like, "Yo, we got to put that on the list." I like how he letting Mark Price just ball out as a point guard.
Right.
So we put him on the list. It was a no-brainer for me. And my mother saw it. Went to visit Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Atlanta was just a great town. I grew up in Atlanta. I'm from New York, but I grew up in Atlanta. I stayed in Atlanta, grew up there, and I just loved it. I love my school, Georgia Tech. Hopefully they can turn it around. But the football team is doing well now. The baseball team is up, doing extremely well. So I'm just Georgia Tech out. For the rest of my life, I will be a Georgia Tech fan because what happened to me in my life. That school was one of the top reasons that I became Kenny Anderson, the basketball player.
Right. Well, and also it affected you as a person too, right?
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
And I think that's really cool because you could have gone anywhere. I did not know the connection to Kenny Smith with his brother. So that's another thing
Everybody thought I was going to go to North Carolina.
Well, Archbishop Molloy, if my memory serves me correct, is Carolina blue is the main color of the jersey.
You got it. We had the same uniforms.
Yeah. See. Hey man, I pay attention, Kenny. I pay attention.